All right, let's dive into the world of gold investing, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
You shared this Investopedia article, How to Invest in Gold, and
Hmm.
I found myself kind of fascinated
Yeah.
by just how long gold has been
Oh, yeah.
a sought after asset.
It's true.
Centuries.
Yeah.
We're talking like a proven track record here,
Right.
but is it the right investment?
Right. For you. Yeah.
For you,
That's
exactly.
a big question.
That's what we're here to figure out today.
For sure. And there are so many different ways to even approach it.
Right.
So yeah, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing.
That's what I thought was so interesting about the article is that it kind of lays out all these different options from like actually having the physical gold to, investing in companies that mine it.
Hmm.
So I guess the most direct route, the one that kind of everybody pictures,
Right.
is buying those gold bars, the bullion.
The bullion. Yep.
But is that even practical, like for us?
Hmm. Well, those big bars that you see, in the movies and everything.
Yeah.
There are definitely some challenges there, like storage is a big one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And liquidity, like if you needed to sell just like 10% of your gold,
Right.
how do you do that? You can't exactly like
Can't just like saw off a chunk of the bar.
right,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's something to think about.
that's true. I mean, it's not like carrying around a couple of gold coins in your pocket, which I guess is another option
Yeah.
that the article mentions. I was kind of surprised by how many different countries issue gold coins, like Krugerrands,
Mm-hmm.
American Eagles,
Mm-hmm.
Maple Leafs. It's a global
It is, yeah,
collection.
huge, for sure. And those coins will also usually come with a little premium too.
Oh, real.
Yeah, you'll pay a little bit above the actual gold value.
Interesting.
And for investment purposes, you probably want to stick with those more widely circulated coins. You don't want to get into like the rare collectors
Okay.
items and stuff.
So I guess for someone who wants to, dip their toes in a little bit,
Yeah.
but they don't want to deal with storing the actual gold.
Yeah,
The article talks about gold ETFs and mutual funds.
that's right.
What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ETFs, those are the exchange traded funds,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of like a basket of assets that are tracking, in this case, the price of gold.
Okay.
And they're passively managed. So there's no like fund manager actively kind of,
Okay.
making decisions.
Gotcha.
Mutual funds, on the other hand, those can be either passively or actively managed, and they might hold gold as like a part of a broader portfolio.
Oh, okay. So ETFs are more directly tied to
Yeah,
like, the gold price, and mutual funds are kind of,
Right. They're just a piece of it.
they're part of a bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are ETFs better then?
Well, they're generally considered more cost effective and transparent because you can easily see what they're holding,
Right.
whereas mutual funds might have higher fees because of that active management.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it depends on what your goals are and what your
Mhm.
risk tolerance is.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Now, for people who are comfortable with maybe a little higher risk, the article also gets into gold futures and options.
Mm-hmm.
And those always kind of seem a little intimidating to me, to be honest.
Yeah, they can be, but we can break them down.
Okay.
So a futures contract, that is an agreement to buy or sell a set amount of gold at a specific price on a future date.
Okay, so you're betting on whether the price is going to go up or down.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So if you think it's going up, you would buy a futures contract.
Exactly.
And if you think it's going to go down, you'd sell one.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, the options.
Options are a little more nuanced. They give you the right, but not the obligation to buy or sell that futures contract at a predetermined price.
So it's like you're making a reservation, but you don't have to show up.
Yeah, a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay.
So options give you a little more flexibility.
More flexibility, but the article definitely cautions about how much risk is involved,
Definitely.
especially if you're, borrowing money to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, that leverage can really magnify both profits and losses. So
Yeah.
definitely not for the faint of heart.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about, direct gold, those bars and coins, and then we've got, ETFs and mutual funds.
Right.
And then these futures and options, which are a little more complex, but there's another way to kind of play the gold market, right? And that's investing in those gold mining companies.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, they're the ones out there getting the gold, right? So it seems like their stock performance would be pretty closely tied to gold prices, but...
Yeah. Well, you would think so, but it's actually not always that straightforward.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those companies are affected by a lot of different business factors, not just the price of gold.
Like what?
Well, I mean, they've got all their operating costs, they've got exploration
Oh,
expenses,
right, right.
and a bunch of other things that can really impact how profitable they are.
Okay.
And actually, some of them even hedge against gold price fluctuations.
Hedge. Wait, so they're trying to minimize their exposure to the price of gold, even though that's what they do.
Yeah, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, I know.
Yeah.
But it's a way for them to manage risk, essentially.
Okay.
So by hedging, they can lock in a certain price for their gold, even if, like, the market price drops.
Oh, I see. So even if the price of gold goes way up,
Mm,
the company might not see their stock go up as much.
exactly, yeah. It's
Yeah.
all tied together in a pretty complex way, so.
So it's less risky, but maybe less rewarding too.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be a little less volatile than,
Right.
directly investing in gold.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, I have to ask about something that caught my eye in the article,
Mm.
and that's gold jewelry.
Ah, yes.
Because, I mean, come on, how cool would it be to, like, wear your investment? Right.
Right.
But is that, I mean, can you really consider jewelry an investment?
Well, I think it's probably safe to say that most people are buying jewelry for how it looks, right?
Right.
Not necessarily as a pure investment.
Right.
And there's a good reason for that because jewelry, it often has some pretty significant markups, sometimes, hundreds of percent above the actual
Yeah.
value of the gold.
Wow.
You're paying for the craftsmanship, you're paying for the design, you're paying to the brand.
Right, right.
So that kind of diminishes its pure like investment value.
Right. So you might find a good deal at like an estate sale or an auction, but you really have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you have to have some expertise.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to be patient to find like the really valuable pieces.
Okay, so I guess it's more about just, enjoying the jewelry than thinking of it as like a good way to make money.
Yeah, for most people, I think that's fair to say.
Okay. So we've kind of covered the different ways to invest, but I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about gold as a hedge,
Sure.
against economic uncertainty.
Yes.
Because this is where gold really gets its reputation as a safe haven, right?
Right.
But the article mentions how it's done well during recessions, but I mean, what makes it a hedge?
Well, gold is kind of unique because it tends to have this low correlation with other assets like stocks and bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting is that it often moves inversely to the US dollar.
Okay.
So when the dollar weakens, gold prices tend to rise and vice versa.
So it's kind of like a seesaw.
It is. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
Okay.
So during times when, the economy is shaky,
Right.
investors often look for these safe havens. And gold has, traditionally been seen as that store of value.
Okay.
So when everyone kind of rushes to that safety, that can actually drive up the demand and then boost its price.
Oh, okay. So when the market's kind of going crazy, the gold is a little more.
It can be, yeah, a little bit more stable.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
And historically, gold prices have also tended to increase when those inflation-adjusted bond yields decline.
Oh, okay.
So that suggests it might be a good hedge against inflation, too.
Wow. So it's multifaceted, right? It's not just about
Sure.
growth, but it's also
Yeah,
about
right.
like providing stability when things are uncertain.
Exactly. It's like a little insurance policy
Yeah.
for your portfolio.
Right. But no investment is perfect.
Yeah,
Right.
of course not. Yeah.
So it's always important to just, look at your own situation,
Right.
figure out, how much risk you're comfortable with, how long you want to invest.
Yep.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have, yeah.
We've gone from the, bars and coins to the futures and options
Right.
and all the stuff in between.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to gold than meets the eye. Yeah, there's layers to this for sure.
It's a whole world.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's fascinating to think about how its role has kind of like evolved over time,
Mhm.
It's been money,
Right.
and it's been a status symbol,
Yeah.
and now it's this like strategic asset.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But let's bring it back to like, the here and now, right?
Okay.
So we've looked at all these options. What are your thoughts on like how somebody actually finds the right fit for them?
Well, I think that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to gold
Right.
as an investment.
Exactly.
It really depends on you, what are your goals? What's your risk tolerance?
Right.
What's your time horizon for this investment?
So somebody who's looking for like short-term gains might be more, interested in those futures and options where there's a lot more volatility.
Exactly.
But somebody who's looking to, build wealth over the long term might prefer the stability of, owning the physical gold or maybe like the ETFs.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. Okay. And then I guess there are also just, practical things to consider, like, how much does it cost to store the physical gold?
Oh, for sure.
Or what are the management fees for these ETFs and mutual funds?
Mm-hmm. Those fees can really add up over time
Yeah.
and eat into your returns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to get, I think, caught up in like the excitement of,
Right.
owning gold, but you have to kind of step back and be like, okay, what's this really going to cost me?
Right. Exactly. And I think it's also important not to forget about diversification,
Yeah.
Even though, gold can be a great part of your portfolio,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be the only thing in there. You really want to spread that risk
You
around.
just want all your eggs in one basket.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Now, the article that we're going through here,
Yeah.
it does a good job, I think, of laying out all the financial stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't really get into, the environmental or the social impacts of gold mining.
Right.
I'm curious to get your take on that.
Yeah, that's something that often gets overlooked
Right.
in these discussions about investing, and it's really important to be aware of, the potential downsides.
Right.
Gold mining can have big impacts,
Oh, for sure.
both on the environment and on people.
So it's really about, investing responsibly, right?
Exactly.
Thinking about like, do my values align with where I'm putting my money?
With how your money's being used.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, are these mining operations sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
Are they respecting human rights?
Mm-hmm.
Are they treating the environment?
Right. All important questions.
Yeah.
And I think investors are starting to pay more attention to that.
Right.
They want to feel good about where their money's going and know that it's making a positive difference.
Right. So it's not just about, making money.
It's not just about the bottom line.
It's about making the kind of world that you want to see.
I think that's a great way to put it.
So we're taking we're looking at the whole picture here,
Mm-hmm.
the financials, but also, the planet, the people.
The bigger picture, for sure.
Yeah. I like that. It's a good reminder that our choices really do have an impact.
They do.
They really do.
Yeah.
Now, I want to wrap up this part of our deep dive by just asking you to kind of picture something. Imagine you're holding a gold coin in your hand.
Oh.
What does that represent to you?
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
To me, it represents history, value, potential. It's like this tangible link to, civilizations that have come and gone, It's a symbol that something has enduring worth.
Right.
And it's this reminder that even when things are uncertain, there are some things that hold their ground.
I love that. I mean, it's such a weighty symbol,
Yeah,
literally and figuratively, right?
it is.
It's a reminder that gold is more than just like a shiny metal.
Right?
It's got this whole story that goes
Mhm.
back centuries.
It does.
It kind of ties together, economics and geopolitics and what people want.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's amazing.
It is.
And that
Well,
story is still being written, right?
Absolutely.
So we get to kind of be a part of that.
We do. We
Yeah.
get to help shape it through the choices that we make.
I love that. That's a great night to kind of end on.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been a journey.
It has.
We've explored all these different ways to invest.
Yeah.
We've talked about, buying bullion and futures contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And we even talked about, like, what are the ethics of mining?
Yeah, all important aspects of it.
This is just the beginning, right?
Oh, this is just to get you started.
Yeah,
Hopefully we've sparked some curiosity
right.
and you'll keep exploring this on your own.
Yeah, for sure. It's been pretty amazing to really dig into this,
It has.
And I think hopefully people are walking away feeling like they've learned, a lot more about gold.
I hope so.
We've gone from the actual like
Right.
bars and coins to the more complex stuff like the
Yeah, the ETFs and futures.
ETFs and futures. And,
Right.
And we even, touched on the the ethics of it all, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a pretty comprehensive look.
It has.
But what strikes me is that gold is it's almost like more than just a commodity, you know?
It is. Yeah,
It's got this psychological element to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been the symbol of
Yeah.
wealth and power
Yeah, for so long.
for centuries.
And it really does kind of evoke these emotions and,
Oh, for sure.
cultural associations that go way beyond,
Yeah.
just how much it's worth,
Exactly.
It's almost like a universal language.
I think so too.
I mean, no matter where you go, people know what gold is.
They do. Yeah, that's a big part of its appeal, I think.
Yeah.
This enduring this draw that it has. It's this tangible link to the past, a store of value in the present, and maybe even this hedge
Right.
against the uncertainty of the future.
Like holding a piece of history
It is. It is.
that also could grow your wealth.
Right, exactly.
So as we wrap up here, I'm curious, what would you say is the one key takeaway that you would want our listeners to walk away with?
I would say gold can be a really valuable part of your portfolio, but you really got to understand
Yeah.
what you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
What are your goals?
Right.
How much risk are you comfortable with?
Yeah.
How long are you planning to invest?
Yep. And I would add to that, really think about
Yeah,
those ethical implications
for sure.
and support those companies that are doing it the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Investing isn't just about the return.
Right.
It's about aligning your money with what you believe in.
What a great point to end on.
Yeah,
So keep learning, stay curious. The world of investing is huge.
it is.
And it's always changing.
Oh,
And the more you know, the better off you're going to be.
that's the truth.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of gold investing.
You got it.
We'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.
Looking forward to it.